Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Fiza Ahmed. I am student of BDS first year. So today my topic is the renal physiology, and the first unit of renal physiology from Guyton is the urine formation, renal blood flow, glomerular filtration, and their control. So the main function of the kidney is the formation of the urine. Urine is the amber fluid liquid of slight acidic reaction excreted by the kidneys, and the normal concentration of the urine is 600 to 2500 ml per day. The color of the urine depends on the pigment known as the urochrome, and normal pH of the urine is 6. The specific gravity of the urine vary from 1.01 to 1.025, and the condition of the diabetes insipidus, when there is decreased concentration of ADH, then the water reabsorption capability of the kidney also decreases, and as a result of this, dilute urine will form, and within the dilute urine there is always a low solute level, and as a whole the specific gravity of urine will decrease. And in second condition, which is the diabetes mellitus, and which is caused due to the presence of the glucose, in this condition the specific gravity of urine will increase. And the pathological urine is a urine having the abnormal constituents. These abnormal constituents are the protein, albumin, globulin, and Bence-Jones protein. This last protein is present within the presence of the multiple myeloma patient, sugar, ketone bodies, blood, and pus. Now I will explain the structure of the kidney. The inner portion of the kidney is known as the renal medulla. The outer portion of the kidney is known as the renal cortex, and there are the collecting tubules within the kidney, and these are known as the pyramids, and the apex of the pyramids is known as the renal papilla, and this renal papilla leads into the structure known as the renal calyx. This is the renal pelvis, and renal pelvis lead to the ureter. And the functions of the kidney is the excretion of the toxic substances from the body, regulatory function, regulation of pH, electrolyte, water balance, and the blood pressure, the synthetic role in which the synthesis of ammonia usually occur, and in the endocrine, the basic function in the endocrine is the erythropoietin secretion, which secrete in response to the hypoxia, and the second important is the conversion of 25 hydroxycholecalciferol to 125 hydroxycholecalciferol, and the JG cells which are present within the afferent arterioles of the kidney produce the renin. Renin produce angiotensin 2, which is the vasoconstrictor substance, and due to this substance the GFR rate increase, and this effect is known as the B1 effect. So here we are done with the structure and function of the kidney. Now I will explain you about the structure and functional unit of the kidney, which is the nephron, and there are 2.4 million nephron in two kidneys. This is the structure of nephron and the important parts of nephron. The first one is the glomerulus. Glomerulus is basically a branching system of the capillaries within the Bowman's capsule, and blood enter the glomerulus through the afferent arterioles and leave the glomerulus through the efferent arterioles. Then the Bowman's capsule, proximal convoluted tubule, where the pressure is usually high, 18 mmHg, and it involves in the reabsorption of glucose, water, bicarbonate ion, and the secretion of the ammonia. Then the loop of Henle, which is consists of two parts: descending limb, which involves in the reabsorption of water, and descending limb is impermeable to sodium, and the ascending limb, which involve in reabsorption of sodium, potassium, chlorine, and it is impermeable to water. Then the distal convoluted tubule, in which the reabsorption of sodium and chlorine occur, and at the initial portion of distal tubule is the presence of the macula densa. And the important part is the collecting tubule, in which the reabsorption of sodium by the action of aldosterone occur, and reabsorption of water by action of ADH vasopressin occur. Basically, there are two types of nephron: cortical nephron and juxtamedullary nephron. Now I will explain the passage of urine, which start from the nephron and at the point where the excretion of the urine occur. So urine formed within the nephron, then it will go to the collecting tubules. From collecting tubules, it will go to the pelvis, ureter, and then it will go to store within the urinary bladder. And the transfer of urine from urinary bladder to the urethra is known as the micturition. And the muscles which are responsible for the micturition process are the detrusor muscles of the bladder. Now I will explain the innervation of the urinary bladder. The sensory innervation of the urinary bladder is from the pelvic nerves, from the sacral plexus, and the motor innervation from pudendal nerves. The one is the parasympathetic innervation, which will always act to increase the peristaltic contraction of bladder, and the sympathetic innervation, which is produced by the hypogastric nerves and always act to decrease the peristaltic contraction of the bladder. Now I will explain the renal blood flow, which will always start from the renal artery, where the pressure will always very high, 100 mmHg, and will end at the renal vein, where the pressure will always very low, 8 mmHg. And the normal rate of renal blood flow is 1100 ml per minute. Now I will explain the important point, which is very important in exam point of view. These are the abnormalities of the micturition. The first one is the atonic bladder, caused by the destruction of sensory nerve fibers. Automatic bladder, caused by spinal cord damage above sacral region, and the uninhibited neurogenic bladder. Now I will explain about the functions of the nephron. Till now I have explained you about the structure of nephron and the specific function of the structure in the process of the urine formation. Now the functions of the nephron involve the filtration, selective reabsorption, and the secretion. Now I will explain the function by considering the diagram. There are four steps or the function which involved in the urine formation, and basic function of the nephron is the cleaning of the blood. So there are four steps in cleaning of blood within our body. The first one is the filtration. This is the glomerulus and this is Bowman capsule. So plasma will move from Bowman's glomerulus into the Bowman's capsule due to the high pressure of the glomerulus, and the filtrate which will be formed as a result of this transportation of plasma is called the glomerular filtrate. And it is same as the plasma, but one difference is there is no RBC within the glomerular filtrate, and protein ratio is also very low. And the glomerular membrane is the membrane of the glomerular capillaries, and it is the negatively charged membrane, and it will resist the entry of the protein because it is negatively charged, and protein are also negatively charged, so they repel the proteins. The second step is the reabsorption, which occur in the peritubular capillaries due to the low pressure within the peritubular capillaries, and here the reabsorption, selective reabsorption of the useful objects will occur. The third one is the secretion, which is the transfer of unwanted substances from peritubular capillaries to the tubule lumen, and then from here the excretion of urine will occur. And now I will explain about the four forces which are responsible for these four steps in the process of the urine formation. The first one is the glomerular pressure, which is 60 mmHg, and it is a pressure which will force the plasma to move from glomerulus into the Bowman's capsule. Then the plasma colloid osmotic pressure, which is 32 mmHg, and it is the inward force or the opposing force which will oppose the plasma to move from glomerular into Bowman's capsule. The Bowman's capsule pressure, which is also the opposing pressure, and its value is 18 mmHg, and the final one is the net outward pressure, which is 10 mmHg. So there are two outward pressures and two inward pressures. Now I will explain about the glomerular filtration rate. Glomerular filtration rate is the rate of glomerular filtrate formation per minute, and its value is 125 ml per minute or 180 liter per day. And the action of hormones are the vasoconstrictors hormone like epinephrine or norepinephrine will always decrease the GFR, and vasodilator like prostaglandin will always increase the GFR. Now I will explain the autoregulation of GFR by considering the juxtaglomerular complex. Now I will first explain this complex. This is glomerulus. This is Bowman's capsule, and I have told you before that at the initial portion of distal tubule is the presence of the macula densa. What is macula densa? The epithelial cells of the distal tubule in contact with the afferent arterioles become more dense and known as macula densa of distal tubule, and the smooth muscle cells of the afferent arteriole in contact to the macula densa are known as the juxtaglomerular cells, and they produce renin. So this complex of these two cells is known as juxtaglomerular complex. What is autoregulation? Autoregulation is the maintenance of constant value of GFR, which is 125 ml per minute, by the process known as tubuloglomerular feedback. And the process involved in this feedback are to operate at the same time. The first one is the afferent arteriolar vasodilator mechanism. When the GFR is decreased, then the reabsorption of sodium and chlorine from distal tubule will occur, and as a result of this, the concentration of these ions within the macula densa will decrease, and the vasodilation of the afferent arteriole will occur, and GFR will increase. And the second one is the efferent arteriolar vasoconstriction. When GFR is decreased, as same as the first process, reabsorption of sodium and chlorine ion will occur, and the concentration of these ions within the macula densa will decrease, and macula densa in this condition will produce renin. And I told you before that renin will produce angiotensin 2, and angiotensin 2 is a vasoconstrictor substance, and it will cause the vasoconstriction of efferent arteriole, and the GFR will be increased as a result of this. So here we are done with the first topic of the renal physiology, which is the first step of the urine formation. Thank you so much.